You are now listening to the Molten Fantasy Sports Podcast.
Welcome to the Molten Fantasy Sport Podcast. I'm your host, Rob Kennedy, sitting here with two of my close friends and co-hosts, Mickie and Justin Herbath. How are we, boys? We'll start with you, Mickie.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, I am the big horse, Mickie Dell. I am the owner, the manager of the 2023 version of Mixed Pigs. Robbie, doing well. Justin, where is the lipworm, brother?
I don't know, mate. It's gone. I've finally done it. I've had it for about 5 years, so this is strange. I don't know. I look about 12 at the moment.
Anyone who is following us along on YouTube is getting to see this. It actually took us a while. We were sitting in studio. I think I've been looking down. Everybody's kind of been prepping for this episode a bit. And then I think finally Justin and I looked up at the same time, and I nearly jumped off I didn't know who it was. I thought his son had either just grown, like the quickest I've ever seen in my life, or some cousins just stepped in studio just to represent, mate. It's a brand new look. It's fresh.
It is, mate. I'm going the clean cut look after you, Robbie.
Oh, thanks, mate. I try. I give off as clean as I possibly can. But anyways, we're going to dive into the episode. Everyone who's joining us for the first time, welcome. We are very excited. Everyone can hear. We've had plenty of sugar. I've got a whole nother family block of Kit Kat to get through this episode. I'm really excited about it because, like we've said before, we are getting closer and closer to round one. But anyone who's joined us for the first time, welcome. If you haven't subscribed, click subscribe. You do not want to miss any of our episodes as we get closer to the season proper. What we are doing for today's episode is it's time to rebuild. We are building a team to get you ready for round one. There has been so much chat on Twitter. It has been going ballistic that we thought instead of just going game by game, we're going to start to build a team and have a chat and a debate and see what we can do.
You know what a great idea.
What's your thoughts about that, guys? How do we feel?
What a great idea, because what we've been doing is we sort of picked our teams a month ago, and we've just been chopping and changing players out as we've been discussing. And you came up with the idea today, Rob, to go, well, why don't we clear the slate? Let's go on our statistics that we've studied, we've researched. We've seen a couple of games now. We know how players are playing. We know how coaches are game planning. We know what positions these guys are playing now. Why don't we just have a crack and let's build the best team we can?
Yeah, I agree. I've had to swallow some ideas and words that I've had for the last couple of weeks, and especially after seeing today. But I think Clarko's disciples are going to be pretty strong in 2023. I'm going to say a fun fact for you boys, okay? There are 3 things in this world that will survive a nuclear explosion, all right? Do you know what they are? Twinkies, cockroaches, and Clarko's disciples. So there you go. That's how strong I feel.
Mate, you're very lucky you don't live in WA, and I don't know of a good bakery in Victoria. I'm going to have to call my mum and maybe ask her, because I'd be sending you some serious humble pie for a few of the things that you've been saying with a few of the stats that have been coming out. Mate, I'm stoked. You know, for all our fans, everybody knows most of the time we come in with a bit of an intro, and we haven't done it today, and I know why you haven't, because damn well I'd be saying kanga, 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 poo, 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 because that's what they put up against the Western Bulldogs, mate. Absolute nonsense.
You got to give it to the doggies, though. They looked really good today. Like Liam Jones, I think their recruits fill their gaps really, really well. Liam Jones especially, I think he's their big missing piece. But yeah, the Kangas were not too great. It's just, they're fooling everybody before they come out round one and beat the Eagles by 120 points.
You'd want to hope so, because if there's anyone that they might have a chance against, it's West Coast. I think they started with Hawthorn last year, and you thought they were a chance, and your bet went south very quickly.
I've also got to contact the AFL, and I've got to contact Supercoach, because there's been a huge mistake on Nick Larkey's name. It's not Nick, it's Sev. So Sev Larkey, right? Because of, what was it, 7 goals he kicked last year? I think he can go 10 Larkey.
10 Larkey. Mate, You have prepped for this episode, and I like it. I'm very excited. Anyways, we're going to dive right in. We've hit that 5-minute mark. Let's dive into it and see what we can do and build a team. For everyone listening at home or watching on YouTube, thank you. And what we are going to try and do here is build a team, like I said. We're going to start with the defenders. We're going to talk about who's that sort of lock primo, who we think is the best sort of mid-price, maybe lock in a couple of rookies and move on to the next line. And then we'll come back again and see if we can fill in some gaps. So be prepared for a bit of debate, and let's see what we can do. I've got an empty Supercoach lineup here in front of me, so that's what I'm looking down at. We'll dive into it. So, boys, we start with the defenders. Who's our lock primo? Justin, I'll start with you. If you're only allowed to pick one, who would you want to put up as your lock primo to start in that D1 spot?
I'll go Doc, just from what I've seen from him in the preseason. I think he's looked really well, and I like his role, so I'll go Doc.
I'm going to go a bit left field here, and my first choice was going to be Jordan Dawson, but I'm going to go Bailey Dale after watching him. He was exceptional behind the ball, uses the ball well, finds space. He's very creative with the ball. And I think that's going to translate into some huge Supercoach scores. And with Caleb Daniel playing through the midfield as well, I think that frees him up to be the number one rebounding defender for the Western Bulldogs.
Yeah, I reckon we've talked about the likes of Bailey Dale, Isaac Cumming, things like that. I think we might come back to them. I think they might slot into that D2 spot, but we'll get some more explanation for you from maybe why D1. But we might not have too much debate here because I'm locking in Doherty as D1 as well. So let's call it a simple 2-1 vote here to start with, and we're going to lock in Sam Doherty. I really like his role, and he's putting up some great numbers. So that was a nice and easy one to start with. We've got some good names to kick us off. Let's dive into maybe the bigger conversations, which I think will probably pop up in other lines. I think defense is maybe a little bit easier, but we'll give a few people some options. The mid-price maniac. Now, this person might sit around D3, might be a D2, who knows, but doesn't matter for right now. Mid-price, under that sort of 400K. Who are we going? I'll start with you this time, Del. Who's your person?
Liam Jones. After watching him today, just his intercept positions across the back line, it's like he's just picked up where he left off when he left Carlton. He was priced in the high 480s, 470,000s at his best at Carlton. So this guy has the potential to be able to be up there with the premium defenders in Supercoach this year. And with the way the Western Bulldogs play and wanting to, with Bailey Dale being that run and create, but also needing someone big, someone that's able to take a mark to be able to drop off their defender. After watching them today, Liam Jones is that man.
I'll go a bit left field as well then, Mick. So I'm not going to say the man from West Coast like everybody thinks I am, but I'm going to go Hunter Clark. I quite like him now. So he's at 315K, 24 touches. Was it today or yesterday? Whenever it was. I think if he stays fit, he's just going to make you money. It's just if he stays fit. That's the biggest question because obviously he's had a lot of injuries the last couple of years. But a new system, a new coach, hopefully he's rejuvenated and he can, at that price, I think he's pretty well priced for his skill and talent.
We're going to have our first debate. And I like it because I think you can only afford to have one of these two players. So I'm going to say two names. I'm the host. I can do whatever I want. I'm going to say two names because I think you can only have one, and I like the other two names you've thrown up. So my two names, because they're sitting in those mid 300,000s, because I like Liam Jones, but I think you can pick one of these guys, and then Liam Jones becomes the next, is Elliot Yeo. And we know it comes down a lot to fitness, but we know he's going to be that bull in that midfield. But the other one I really like, and you mentioned him earlier in one of our episodes quite a few times ago, I really like the look of Ben Long. I think the role that he's playing at Gold Coast, running off halfback, I think he had something like 9 rebounds out of 50. He ran at 93% efficiency and put up some good scores. I really like what he's doing. So where do we go here, boys? Does anyone want to respond to where we go with this first pick of our mid-price maniac?
Right, Benny Long, I'm Ben Long number one fan. Honestly, I dropped his name like 2 months ago before he was even traded. Right. So the problem is he's in my forward line. So the back line, I see like a little bit more value with Hunter Clark. But yeah, I like him in that forward line role. Just think
I'm going to tell you now, my vote is not Hunter Clark. He's burnt me. I think he's got all the potential in the world, but I just don't think he's doing enough right now to warrant that spot. So Del, I'll let you pick between Liam Jones, Ben, and I don't mind the Ben Long call to go forward.
Yep.
Unless Mickie Dell, you want Hunter Clark, you've got the choice now between Elliot Yeo, Ben Long, or stick with your man Liam Jones.
Yeah, I don't like the Hunter Clark pick. Sorry, Herbie, but I'm going to go with Yeo. Just purely because West Coast played without a recognised ruckman on the weekend, and Riley O'Brien absolutely gave him a bath. You put Nick Nack back into that side, he's going to get first use out of the middle. Being an inside mid, his points are going to go through the roof. Ben Long is basically relying on the other team messing up and playing off him to get his scores, where Yo's in the thick of the action, game in, game out. So I'm going with Yo.
Now, I know what you're thinking here, Justin. You'll give a little smirk. The Rob Kennedy, Mick Delaney, best buds, kind of like love picking each other. Mate, it was one pick ago that you and I just agreed on Doherty. So we're 50-50 at the moment. So just cool your jets.
We agree on the primos, but when these mid-price maniacs, we'll get the boxing gloves on for those ones.
We haven't disagreed on Ben Long. You just haven't got him in your forward line. So, mate, I jumped on board the Herb train. I mean, I would have jumped on board more if you had a mustache, but now I'm a bit confused. I like the Elliot Yeo pick, and I think I can see what Mick's doing here. He's a very good negotiator. He has a vibe that we're going to come back to Liam Jones at another time, so he's just jumped on board with somebody else. So he's a smart man, this boy. I like it. I'm hoping this next question should be quite an easy one. As I said, this doesn't fill all our spots to start with, but we're just going to kind of push through this. And hopefully give everyone a little bit of a tease and a taster of names that they're thinking of. Let's lock away two rookies. I think we should be able to lock away two rookie price players pretty quickly. Yep. Herbie, who are you two? I think we know the names, but let's just pump this out quickly. Who are we locking away? Two no-brainers.
Ginbey and Wilmont.
Del?
Ginbey and Constable.
Ooh. Do we agree on all three?
I do.
Yes.
I don't like the look of Conor McGregor's brother. He didn't look too good in that pracky match that they had. So Wilmot's had a huge preseason. So save 40 or 50K and go Wilmot instead of McKenna.
And what I do want to bring up here,
Wilmot and Constable. Yeah, go for it, mate.
Yeah, Ginbey, 100 points. If it wasn't for Will Ashcroft, he could potentially be the Rookie of the Year this year. He looked really good. But when we're talking about Charlie Constable, he played a similar role to Ben Long. I did watch that game. A bit of run and create from the back line as their third tall defender, and then even pushed up into the midfield as the game went on. So I quite like that for Constable. I feel as though he's cemented his spot in the side, and he is going to generate you a lot of money.
Yeah, mate, I agree with you. I've put it out on Twitter before. If you want to follow me on Twitter at @RobK_FS, I asked the straight up Charlie Constable question. Somebody convinced me for why this guy's in. A few people had mentioned it. I wasn't convinced. From what I've seen from these two preseason games, I'm convinced. I think he's in for now, 100%. We move on. We move on to the mid. So we've got 5 in there, which is a pretty good start, guys. But we'll discuss what we think we need to bolster that up a little bit. I think this is where we start to probably have some bigger debates. Justin's breathing heavily there on that microphone. I can hear that through my headphones. So hopefully that's not too strong for everybody. But he's prepared. I can feel it. Who wants to start with who is their must lock M1?
I've changed.
Rory Laird.
I've changed here.
Say it, Justin. Say it with me. Go. Go.
Clayton Oliver.
Oh, turn it up. Turn it up.
I'm going Oliver.
Mickey Dell, at least Mickey Dell came across and said what needed to be said. I think Rory Laird is an absolute no-brainer that you must lock in to your side to give you that backup captain confidence. Dell, I mean, you give your reason. You said it first, and then you go first, Dell, and then Herbie, you can go with Clary.
Yeah, so Rory Laird, basically, he was everywhere. He tackled, he kicked goals, he had a lot of the ball. Adelaide were looking to get him the ball whenever they could. At that price, I don't think he's going to drop that much, if at all. And what did he score? 150 even in the practice match, and he was probably running at 75 to 80%. Lock for me.
I don't mind Laird. I just hate the price. For me, looking at the matches,
it's 4K. It's 4K.
Yeah. Listen, just listen. All right, Rob. All right, listen to this. What I believe in is I believe in good teams. Right. So I don't know what's going to happen with Adelaide. Right. I don't know. They're obviously going through a rebuild. Laird's a bit older. Like you're never sure of what's going to happen. Right. What I do know is the D's are hungry. Like you can just see it with the way they're playing. They are so hungry. Then this is why I picked Oliver over Neil, because I actually see the D's just have a hunger. Whereas last year I think they won all these games, but they were only by like 5 or 6 points. I think they're going to knock everyone out the park, and Oliver's the man to do it, right? Oliver's their main man, right? So with track. So for me, I'll have a lot of faith in them, in the D's. So he's the main man. So I'm just going with him because I've got a lot of confidence in them.
I agree with everything that you just said in that paragraph. Right, absolutely. I believe in good teams. I believe he's the man. I believe they're going to score. I believe they're hungry. I think they're coming back they're doing like a Geelong, win a premiership, don't, and then maybe win another one. I just think that you can get away with somebody who's in a weaker side. It's no different to when people had Zeeble in their back line, or even like an Aaron Hall that were just getting this disgusting numbers down in the back line. I think Laird is just going to pick up disgusting numbers week after week after week, and no one's going to bother to tag because they're going to beat them regardless. So for me, look, 2-1 vote at the moment. We'll go with Laird. I don't think we're going to be able to have Clayton Oliver and Laird. I think now we're talking crazy prices, but look, we'll come back. Everything you said is right. I don't think anyone can go wrong with either one of those two players. I just don't think you should afford both because there's way more mid-price maniacs to get in your team now. Which leads to the mid-price maniacs. Who are we talking here, boys? Or where are your heads at? I mean, there's so many to talk about to possibly put in, but Herbie, who do you want first? Who's your must-have mid-price midfielder?
I think looking at it, I can only give one name, right? Is that right? One name?
One for now. You can say two names. You can say
I think,
two names. Who would be your one?
Just the biggest lock in that mid-price maniac is Hopper. Just seeing what he's been doing at Richmond with Taranto. I think Taranto is a huge Brownlow Smoky, by the way. And yeah, just at that price, you can't go wrong. I think everyone's going to pick him.
Del?
Finn Callaghan for me. Watched him today. GWS played on the ball and on the wing. Looked good with it. He's a bigger size midfielder. I think he's going to play a lot of games this year and scored nearly 100 today. And at 240,000, that's going to generate you a lot of money again.
So just for the betterment of this game that we're playing here, because look, both those guys might end up getting in this team, especially at that price that Finn Callaghan's at. Just for the betterment of this game, Del, if you could only have one of them, you're taking Finn over Hopper?
Yep.
Cool. It's good. It's good chat for people. No, it's all right. It's good chat. It's good chat. Do you not have Finn at all in your mindset here, Herbie?
I do, but he's in my rookies. I just think he's pretty cheap. Yeah, just at that. I don't know. I think he's in my rookie class. But I'm looking at him. He looks good.
I think it's a tricky one. I get the point of 244. He probably sits in that mid-price maniac. It's a lower price mid-price maniac because I think, what is it? If you're the number one pick, is Will Ashcroft. It's 202,000. So I think, therefore, can only really call a rookie from there down. But he's a very low price mid-price maniac. So look, I'm going to put Hopper in. I think Hopper is the number one pick at that mid-price cost. But let's come back because I've got Finn in my team. So let's put Hopper in. Well, I mean, Herbie, you agreed. Are we looking at a Finn Callahan? Are we putting him in for now, and then we can come back and discuss?
Yep.
All right, we'll put him in 100%. There as well. I really like what he's producing. I think he looks great. Let's discuss then the rookies. I think Ashcroft's an absolute lock. Anyone want to disagree with that? All right. If no one has if you're listening out there and you don't have Will Ashcroft, please come and join our league. For those playing at home, we'll give you that code during this episode to join our league. Because if you don't have Ashcroft, I'm a bit unsure on how to play this game. I think just quietly. Who are the other? Give me another two rookies' names that you're looking at that are just absolute locks for your team. Del, we'll start with you this time.
Alwyn Davey. And Will Phillips.
I'm the same. I've got Will Phillips and Philippou.
This is good. I like this. Alwyn Davey definitely came onto my radar. I had him possibly sitting in my forward line. Philippou was sitting in my forward line. For me, Phillips has moved from a starter to my bench. And I really like the look of Oscar? Yeah.
Yep.
Baker and McKenzie.
Spot on.
Yeah. Which part of that did you like spot on? Just my name?
No, I like the Oscar Baker pick. He scored 100 today. But then there's another one that I want to throw in there as well, to throw to the floor as well. McKenzie from Hawthorn scored 100 on Thursday night.
Yeah, so that's who I just said. So Baker and McKenzie are my two that I was going to throw in the mix. Yep.
So I think we can agree on Phillips.
So yeah, I think we can agree on Phillips. Well, I think the way that we need to look at it as well then is, well, Davey and Philippou can be forwards. I really like the Alwyn Davey. You, Del, you're being a Bombers man. Maybe explain a little bit more. I didn't get to see that game. I've literally only seen his score and the way that people have talked about him. Is he more than just a forward, or what do you like about him?
Yep, so just watching the way he moved with the ball and his work rate up the ground, he was very good with the ball, very poised, didn't rush. Seemed as though he had a lot of time to make his decisions, whether it be by hand or by foot, and looked dangerous around goal as well. So while I don't think he's going to average your 80 or 90, I think you can lock him in for your 65 to 70 each week.
It's nice. And he's a low price as well, isn't he? He's about 117. Am I right in saying that? I've taken
that's right.
Guess there because I did have him in my side before. Yeah, cool. All right. So what I've done for now is I've put, let's go to forwards then, and I'll put Philippou. I've put Philippou and Davey into our forward line. And I've picked Phillips, Baker, and McKenzie with Ashcroft in our midfield. Any issues? Sweet. We move on. I like this. This is nearly too easy. It's nearly too easy. All right. This is where we've had some good fun. We're going to move to the rucks. And this might be the time that Justin Herbath opens his door to the delivery man, bringing him some humble pie. Who is our must-have ruck? Justin, you can start.
Is it Brodie Gundy?
It is not. It is not. No disrespect to one of the best ruckmans of this modern era, but he is not the lock for this season.
I will say I will say one thing. I was wrong.
Wait, I'm marking this. Hold on.
Look, Marshall looks really, really good. Really good.
No shit.
Yep, he did. And look, I was wrong. I was watching today, and I was like, look, the D's. I was really interested because I saw Marshall score, and I was like, oh, it's okay. Grundy will turn it up today, right? I was watching today. Grundy kicked a few goals. Gorn killed it, and I was like, you know what? This is actually favouring Gorn a lot more than it is Grundy, right? Just the way that they're playing together. So Gorn killed it, but he's obviously pretty highly priced. What I will say is that in a pretty easy win, Grundy wasn't able to accumulate a huge Supercoach score. So, look, I will say it. Grundy out. My boy Marshall's in.
It only took 7,422 tweets. Pretty much every game that he's been the sole ruck, he scores over 100 since he joined the league. And your two co-hosts just telling you that he's an absolute lock and you're a maniac for not having him. But it's good. We got here at the 26-minute mark this will drop on the 5th of March, which is a fantastic day of the year, my birthday. But at the 26-minute mark at 7:45 Perth time on the 4th, this is a great day. It's a great day.
We'll remember this one.
We move on. We move on. Let's pick a second ruck. I think this is where the debate comes in now. Who's our second ruck? Who's partnering with him? I'll go to you, Del.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Big Sean Darcy at Fremantle. He was just everywhere on the weekend. His midfielders are going to have an absolute field day this year. Just tapping it down their throats. He was getting tackles. He was unbelievable. And it's another one that Rob's brought up in the past that he's going to play well. And Justin said, I don't know, Luke Jackson or other ruckmen might take his time away. But he is as locked in as cheese on toast.
Well, he couldn't, the last game, there was nothing to debate because he was just a sole ruck because Jackson didn't play. So let's just see how this pans out. Let's go with a better ruckman here. The ruckman from the potential premiers this year, and we'll go Tim English. I think he's a better player. He's in his prime. He's going to do big things, and I'd back him over. I'd back him over Darcy.
I'm a big advocate for Darcy and what he's going to do. I'm still a big fan of Jared Witts. I'm a big fan of Jared Witts and the role he's going to play. I think he still puts up good numbers. He's their sole ruck. He knows how to get scores over 100. And I think more importantly, he knows how to be consistent. So, look, I don't know who we pick here. I know where I sit with Sean Darcy. I don't think you can go wrong. So I'm going to tell everyone at home, Witts, English, Darcy, Marshall. I don't think you can go wrong with those four. Do you guys have any debate over any one of those four on why not to pick them?
I'd be scared with Darcy with Jackson playing with him. He's a big boy. He's a big boy.
Watching Western Bulldogs today, English struggled a bit against Xiri, or however you say his surname, and Goldstein. He's had a limited pre-season. I don't think he ran out the game that well and didn't score that well. So for me, he's on the outer at the moment.
Where's everyone sit with Witts? You guys don't really say much about the guy. What's
I like him.
I'll go to you, Justin. I think Dell's got a little bit of a delay. Yeah, Dell likes him.
I think, I liked him, and I've had him in previous years. He's been a good scorer for me. So I like him. I just don't like him at that price. I like to think he's, maybe if you're playing it safe and he's a more model of consistency. But I like to go for the boys who can, push the 150, 160s.
Yep. All right. Well, I think we're going to have to, and I know you're not a fan. I think where we're agreeing then is because Dell's against English, you're against Wits at that price, which I can understand. It's going to have to be Sean Darcy. He's the cheapest out of all those that we're talking about. He's the cheapest, and we've got a couple of us that like what he's going to do. So let's put him in there. It'll give us a bit more money to play with when we try and fill out a few more spots. Are we playing the Lupo role? Are we putting Madden on our bench?
Yes.
All right, he's in. Done. We move on to the forwards. I think we can all agree that Josh Dunkley is in. Cool. All right, let's add who then would be your next primo. And we know there's a few to choose between. Who's your next primo, Herbie?
Connor Rozee. I think he's a lock in everyone's team. He's looked really well this preseason, and from all reports, he's their main man. So he's ready to step up. Even when Butters has come back, he's still looked like the main man and still killed it. So, yeah, he's definitely the next lock for me.
You did just name Taranto as a Brownlow Smoky. So you'd take Rozee over Taranto?
Nah, I'm taking Taranto. It's just, hey, hey, listen to me.
I'm listening. Trust me,
Right.
I'm listening to every word you're saying, and that's why if anyone who's watching on YouTube is just seeing me throw my microphone from one room to the other, because this as a host is what I'm dealing with.
Hey, I've got all three as a lock. That's what I've got. I've got all three as a
I
lock.
said, who would be your next choice? We're trying to help everybody at home. Now, we get it. Everybody's choosing between picking 3 primo forwards, 4 primo forwards, and a Goulden. We get the conversations that are out there. But there might be a few out there who just go, you know what? I want 2. So if you're telling me Dunkley's 1, tell me who number 2 is.
But you know what?
So you're saying Taranto's 2.
I'll double down. No one is. I think everybody should just pick the 3. That's it. Just pick the 3. It's that simple.
Let's go with that. Del, do you agree that all 3?
Yeah.
All 3 should be in?
Yep. Rosee's great. Taranto's great.
That's what you should have led with. That's what you should have led with, Herbie. You said you want some more arguments on this pod. Well, I'm giving it to you. Say what you want to say, all right? Say what you want to say.
Yeah, sorry, boys. Taranto should have been my second lad. My bad.
All right, so we've got Dunkley, Rozee, Taranto. We've got the 2 rookies in Filippo and Davey. Does anyone know? Is it Philippou or is it Filippo?
Oh, I got no clue.
Okay, we move on. Someone at home, please let us know on Twitter. All right, mid-price. There's a few out there for forwards. Who are you touching, if anyone, at a mid-price for your forward? Del, we'll go to you.
Yeah, after watching the games this weekend, and I was lucky enough to watch all 9 games this weekend, I'm going to go ahead and pick Sam Flanders, who's at 256K. He was brilliant. And without Took Miller, he just took over in the midfield. So when you're looking at that, yes, Took's coming back, but he is going to play midfield time. And then he even pushed back and helped out the back line. Potential, again, to help out Ben Long and Charlie Constable down back. He's a lock for me now.
Herbie is giving the look of, sorry, who?
I'm just Googling him. Sam Flanders.
All you're getting is stupid, sexy Flanders in his ski outfit with Homer Simpson, aren't you? Nah, Sam Flanders has been a massive chat. And I must admit, I've heard a lot of chats before this season began, before we started this podcast, start to get a bit of a vibe of what's going on out there. And a lot of people talked about him being that possible breakthrough. And I knew who the player was. I'd seen him play, but I didn't understand how anyone was predicting him to be the breakthrough. His games have been phenomenal, and he has broken into my team. And at that price, I totally agree. Sam Flanders has got to be in your team.
I've got Cunners, Ben Cunnington from North. So I watched today's game, and I watched a half of it. He had, I think, 27 disposals, 16 contested possessions, And you can really tell that the North midfield is really inexperienced when it went up against the Doggies. The Doggies just outclassed us the whole day. They just worked harder, and Cunners was, in the midfield a lot. So I don't think that Clarko will fully, I know he's shifting magnets and stuff at the moment, but I don't think he'll fully trust the Phillips, the Powells. I think it's those three. It's LDU, it's Simpkin, and it's Cunners. And I think they all three work really well together. So he's obviously building his fitness and coming back from, his cancer battle. But when he's at his best and when he's at his peak, he's just a gun. So for me, I'm going with Cunners because I think that, and I'll also say I don't think he's going to go forward as much as I thought originally.
Yeah, I like the call, and everyone, you guys all know, and anyone who's been listening along since episode 1, he's been sort of my guy at that mid 4 or even mid 3. I really rate what he does. My problem now is there's too many guys at that 200 or 300 mark that I think are going to score just as much as him. And I agree with your comment at the start, Justin, which is those 3 primos need to be a lock. And the other one you could throw into that mix is Canelio. And if he possibly pops in and takes one of those spots. So for me, Cunnington now is too high priced for what I'm trying to do in some other spaces on my field. So for Flanders to be that 256, the other one I'll throw up is Bruin at 3. I want to say he's at 313.
308.
Bruin,
I think he's around 308, wasn't it? Or 330.
311, 400. Tanner Bruin. What's everyone's thoughts on, I'm going to throw the name out here because here's the flavour of the last 24 hours with the numbers that Goulden put up. I think it's a don't panic pick. I rate him as a player, but don't panic pick. But Del, I know you would have watched the game. What was your thoughts on Goulden and your thoughts going forward?
Yeah, he was phenomenal. Watching him, just his work rate back and forward from defence to attack, his work around the ball. Sydney were looking to get him the ball at every possible opportunity. I tend to agree with you a little bit, given that there was no Callum Mills and there was no one else really to get the ball to. So they just stacked him with the ball. It'd be a good pick. I think you won't go wrong with him. I think he'll average his 100 points. But when you're looking at the score, what was it, 190 that he nailed out? That's phenomenal. That's unheard of territory. So it is, to an extent, a panic pick. But I don't think you'll be disappointed if you do end up going with him for the year.
No Papley either. So no Mills, no Papley, who does go in and take a bit of that sort of very Cyril-like, goes in and can do some clearance work as well. What's your vibe on Bruin?
Yeah, I like him. He was working really well through the midfield, and he spent a lot of time as the inside mid. 7 or 8 tackles for the game. He only had 18 touches and still scored over 100. So when you're looking at that, that's really efficient. Whether he can keep that up or not when Geelong have a full team back, I'm not too sure. I think that's a panic pick there.
I'll go to you, Justin. So one of the absolute must-haves that we talked about, and I think everybody had him locked in, he would have been probably top 5, definitely top 10 ownership, was McLean. Now, he's had a bit of an off game today. Where do you sit with McLean? Does he still make the side, or is it now a watch this space?
Yeah, I don't think he does. I'm probably just going Sheasel instead of McLean now. So he's probably just taking that spot over. He's really struggled this preseason, and in a side that's killed it as a mid/forward. So if he's struggling against us, in what should have been 100-point win, our backline is a shambles as well. So I don't know how he's going to go against the Geelongs, the Melbournes. I don't know. Has he had an interrupted preseason that we don't know about? Something must have happened because he's not looking.
Yeah,
he's not looking that good.
To an extent, I watched the game today, Justin, and he was just going through the paces. And especially now that Hayden Crozier has gone down with an injury, I believe it was a dislocated finger. That's a similar type role to what McLean will play. So don't panic. I think he's going to score well. He's had a pretty ordinary preseason, as you've highlighted. But watching him today, he was just going through the paces, looking to get through a game of footy. It doesn't look as though he's got the full confidence in his body yet, but we all know what he can score like when he's up and about.
Yeah, I reckon. I think he's got to go to in the team now. I think the watch this space might be more around the fact that you're like, does he go to my bench or is he definitely just an F6? But yeah, I've sort of got him still staying there, so I'll pop him in. We've nearly filled our forward line just quietly, guys. So we've got Dunkley, Rosie, Taranto, McLean, Flanders, Filippo, and Davey. Let's leave that final spot there. I don't mind the Cunnington pick. It's going to come down to balance. I don't think we're going to have the funds to put him in, but we can talk about some other options there because there's plenty of low-price people who we know are going to play. Let's go back to our backline. So we are only needing to fill 3 more spots in our backline, 4 spots in our midfield, and 1 spot in our forward line, and we've still got 3.19 mil. To be aware, though, we only have 1 primo in our midfield, and that's Laird at the moment, and we drop to the Hopper and Callahan, so we know we're going to have to spend a bit of cash there. But let's talk about our defenders. We currently have 1 primo in Doherty. We have a mid-price in Elliot Yeo, and we've got the 3 rookies in Gimby, Wilmot, and Constable. I feel we need to either pick a second primo or at least somebody 500 plus.
I got a good one.
Del, you threw up. Yeah, go, mate. Go for it.
Jeremy McGovern. 473K, I think. He's been a Supercoach king for years, and he was always priced really high. He's only just dropped just because of injuries and not playing enough games. But I think he scored, what was it, like 140 or something in that last practice match when they were getting smashed. So, yeah, for me, he's the drop down I'm doing from Dawson, saving 120K, and I'm going McGovern.
I'm just going to
see your face,
quote.
Rob.
I'll let Del go first, but I just want to say one more. I just want to say one sentence, which is, I back good teams and good players in good teams. I'll just put that there. Del?
I'm going to give you 2 to think about, boys.
Well, quickly, you know that I back Backman.
Okay.
Sorry, Mickie, go.
Okay. You keep cutting me off, mate. Come on, it's my time to shine here. All right, so I've got 2 that I want to throw to you, boys. Bailey Dale, as I said earlier, or Ridley from Essendon. Both fantastic users of the ball. They're around 500, 550K. Ridley's at 500. Bailey Dale's at 550. They're both going to score pretty well. Western Bulldogs are a good side. They structure up well. They look to get Bailey Dale the ball. And on the other side, Ridley, I don't think he's going to be one that's going to be tagged. When teams are looking to stop Essendon, they're looking to tag your Hines and these sort of people that create from behind the ball to try and negate Essendon's run and carry. Ridley's possessions are intercept possessions and kickouts from behinds. And he's a very consistent scorer. So I reckon you could do pretty well both ways there.
Yeah, my pick will be Dale, Cumming, Ridley, or Dacos. And Dacos is the other one that still sits at that 500 mark. I think Ridley's at 502. So a bit of a debate there that our listeners are definitely asking. Ridley versus Dacos. I think Dale and Cumming are around the same price as well. Or do you slot in a very confident second primo in Dawson or Stewart or Sicily? I think Sicily's the other one that we've forgotten here. Herbs?
I'm saving coin and I'm going McGovern. I'm putting Dacos in that number 2 slot, and then McGovern's that number 3.
We'd have to see with the overall balance of the team.
I like Backman on bad teams.
when we talk about the overall structure of the team, it depends on how much you want to spend on your midfield. I like the Dawson pick. I'm not overly sold on Sicily yet. We've got Doherty there. Sinclair from St Kilda. That wasn't the same player we saw last year, so I can see why the percentages are down a little bit lower. So it depends on whether we're going to stack our midfield or we're going with some primo talent in the back line.
So no one has backed in coming. So I'll give you guys the choice here. I'm not McGovern. I see what you're doing if you're putting him in the 3 spot, but I think we need to look at money. We've got already Elliot Yeo sitting there. I don't like the idea of having Elliot Yeo, Gimby, and McGovern all from West Coast, and then there's probably a chance we throw Chesser in this team as well. But if I said to you guys then Ridley, Dacos, or Dale, who are you picking, Herbie?
Dacos.
Dale.
I really don't like the fact that Dacos got tagged
Mm.
and he didn't play it well.
No.
I think he becomes a bit of a player that gets tagged at Collingwood this year, and he's got a lot to learn on how to break it. So I am going to go with backing good teams and confident in his role. We've talked about him a lot, which is Bailey Dale. All right. Midfield. Let's fill out some spots. Because I think it gives us a chance to I think the midfield we need to leave to last to know exactly how much money we have to spend. So who are you guys putting? Who are you guys putting? Give me one more rookie for our. I think we need one more rookie in our back line, unless we're putting in a mid price. I think we need one more rookie. We've got 2 primos and a mid price maniac in Yo. Are we confident with Yo being D3? Do we put 2 more rookies in? Would we be happy with this as our starting 6? Doherty, Yo, Dale, Gimby, Wilmont, Constable? Or are we missing somebody that needs to go into this back line?
I like Jones. I've got Jones in my starting 6.
Sorry. Yes. Jones. Herbie, are you happy with Jones?
Yeah, I'm very happy with Jones.
Yep. Sorry, good call. Liam Jones goes in. Who's our that kind of answers the question. Who's our last rookie? Is it, for me, I'll put up, I think it's, I want to say either Chesser, but he can go into the mids, and so can Cincotta or Cincotta from Carlton.
Yeah, it
I really
quite
like what
Italian,
he put up in his game. And it,
So,
yeah, and 102K. Yeah, it's trust me, Herbie. I had to look him up a bit today too. It was I had seen the name get mentioned. Yeah, he actually played an absolute ripper, and I really liked what he did. It's I'm pretty sure it's Alex Cincotta or Cincotta. Is it Cincotta? Did you hear it, Dale? Is it Cincotta?
Yep.
There's a lot of players coming up who are coming out of nowhere. Just buyer beware. That's all I'll say.
At 102K. If he's named in round 1, it's buy without even looking at writing your signature. They won't even ask for ID, which you might have today with that no mustache. You look about 15, mate. All right, so there's our back line. All right, so we've got Doherty, Bailey Dale, Elliot Yeo, Liam Jones, Wilmont, and then either Gimby or Constable, and then Cincotta on the bench as well. I don't mind that. It's not bad. Let's fill then the last forward spot. I feel like it's probably just going to have to be a rookie or a rookie price or that 200 below. I'll let you throw out a name first, Herbie.
I think we can all agree, hopefully, that it's got to be Sheasel. Watching him today, I'm so excited by him as a North fan because he kicked a goal early, I think it was, and then he went back behind the ball. And when he went back, his creativity, his hands, he just reminds me of like a Pendlebury. He's just really, really classy with the ball. And us having Zeeble down there who just roasts the ball, and us having like some backmen down there who, we're filling spots and stuff with some intercept marking with Logue, and McKay's doing good, but we don't have a skilled backman, right? And I don't know what Clarko will do, but I know his game plan, Rob, and I know that he likes to use people who use the ball well. So I think Zeeble and Aaron Hall, they'll be on a really short leash.
Clarko is very strong he puts a big influence on flankers, half-forward flankers, half-back flankers, and wingers. That's his motto to how he wins flags, is those kind of roles that can also rotate between all those positions too, to throw the opposition off. So before you know it, you're a half-backer who's now all of a sudden a half-forward, who then goes onto the wing, that then goes into the midfield to really break up the structures. So I don't mind the call. Let's not forget, we can put Phillippo or Orwin Davey onto the bench in the midfield too. So we can move a few here, because I'm going to mention... Actually, Del, you go next. I like the Shizzle call. But who are you mentioning, Del?
Yeah, I like the Shizzle call as well, Justin, but I'm going to go a little bit left field here and go with Fergus Green from Hawthorn. They are going to need focal points inside 50, and he's also good below his knees. So he didn't get much of the ball, but he did score 80. And I think he can build on that. I don't think he's going to be a regular top scorer, but if you're looking for that slow cash burn and someone that's going to play a lot, I think Hawthorn are going to get games into him. So Fergus Green for me.
I'm going to, if we're going to be talking about... I like that call. I've already moved Phillippo into the midfield defence, because I think we're going to need a spot here. I like the Fergus Green. I like the Shizzle call. I'm going to still throw up, though, Asava Radaglia. If we're playing the loophole role with Madden on the bench, heaven forbid Marshall or Darcy just miss a week, or whoever you have in your ruck line miss a week. Asava is now going to play that defensive role with the injuries that they have at Geelong. And at 174,000 with DPP to go into the ruck, that could save you having to burn a trade on a 1 week injury to one of your starting rucks. So to me, I feel like it's nearly a must to have someone like him in your forward line.
Yeah, it's not a bad shout.
I'll throw that back to you guys.
I like it. Yeah. He just looked a bit sloppy when he was playing the other night. Coming out of the back line, he gave away a few free kicks. He would just look like that bloke that when he got the ball, he just kicked long all the time. He didn't lower his eyes. And as a previous senior coach, I used to hate that, because you're effectively kicking it to a 50-50 all the time. You're not trying to structure up your team where you're not looking to get that switch kick and get your runners into the game. So I think from your point of view, and having that ruck player that could go into the ruck if someone misses, that's brilliant. But from a point scoring point of view and an outlook over the course of the year, for me, he was out as soon as I saw him play the other night. Just too sloppy, and I don't think he's going to make much coin.
Herbs?
I think for the price, he's pretty well liked, and I wouldn't mind getting him in my team. He was in my team previously, but I've taken him out since. But he's someone I'll definitely look at, especially with Hawkins down for I think it's going to be a few weeks. So I'm not too concerned about him butchering the ball so much. He just needs to take intercept marks down back, which he's been really, really good at, and just give the hands to somebody who can hit a target. With Geelong, obviously, they're going to be pretty good as well. So, he's really cheap. Yeah. So he's definitely an option.
Yeah, for me, it's just that support piece that I just feel confident as a support piece. I like the green call, especially 123. I just feel like I will sleep easier knowing that I have somebody that could flick across if need be. I like Shizzle as well. I've put in Shizzle and Radaglia. I think we're really starting to spend a bit of cash when it comes to our forward line. You start looking at, our F6 is 170. Our F6 would probably be Shizzle at maybe 198, and our benches are both 174 and 178. So, look, we might have to strip it back, and if so, it looks like it's Shizzle or Radaglia that come out for maybe like a green. and then maybe we can spend a bit more. But we'll only find that out now until we go back to our midfield. So we have 1.9 million to spend, and we have 3 spots to fill, which, dare I say, will probably have to be.
That's 3
Probably got
primos.
to be our M. It's probably, but it's because it probably has to be our M2, our M3, and our M4. So they have to be 3 primos, because we've got Laird, and then we drop down to Hopper and Finn Callahan with then Will Ashcroft, and we've got Phillips, Baker, McKenzie, or Filippo making up the last spot, and the other 3 going to the bench. So we're looking at the mindset of an M2, M3, and M4 with not much more than 600K to spend.
I think this is easy.
Okay.
It's Steele, Oliver, and Tom Green.
Let me see.
Spent
Let
your
me
money
just
really
do
well
it.
there, Justin. Well done.
Thank you.
Steele.
Got the calculator out.
So Tom Green, and you speak on that, Del, while I put them in.
Yeah, unlike Justin, I don't carry around a calculator in my back pocket, so I'm going to have to throw to you blokes in regards to whether my picks will fit. But let's go with Bontempelli, Steele, and Tom Green.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it definitely fits. So Clayton Oliver, Jack Steele, and Tom Green still leaves our team $88,700. So we can spend pretty much how we want. I'm intrigued on everyone's thoughts here now. I love Tom Green. I rate that pick. The one who's now I'm getting a little nervous about, and again, been absolute lock, and we've had a couple that we've spoken about this episode that have been locked since day one, is Jack Steele. Now, if we've got 88,000 to play with, let's say, for example, I took Jack Steele. Let's just say I took Jack Steele out, and I can put in
Lockie Neal.
I can put in anyone. I can put in Lockie Neal. I can put in anyone. I can put in Lockie Neal, Took Miller, Callum Mills, Marcus Bontempelli, Jack McRae. Are you still taking Jack Steele?
Nope.
Nope. I'm taking Marcus Bontempelli.
No, I'll go Steele. I think it's been blown out of proportion. He's slower games that he's had in the preseason. He's a gun. He's their captain. I think that at that price, you're looking to make money, right? As well. So for me, I'd go Steele and upgrade somewhere else.
Okay. No, I'm like, this is a good chat. And look, we can go back and who would be your pick though, Del, if you're just pure scoring?
Who am I talking about, or who are we picking between?
If we took out Jack Steele and you can pick any player you want.
Yep, so we'll take out Jack Steele and we'll put in Lockie Neal. Like, you've got points on the board from years gone by. He's a proven big scorer. We saw him the other night playing alongside not Danaher, sorry. He's a bit of a spud. Dunkley is who I meant. McCluggage, these guys that are running through the midfield and was still able to generate his 130 points or whatever it is that he scored. If I had that money, I'd be throwing him in within a second.
Boys, I like this team. I like this team a lot. Let me just read out the team then. And look, now we have the ability. What are we at? We're at 58 minutes. I feel like everybody should be glued to their seat. This might be the point in which I mark it as well. Our team right now sits at Sam Doherty, Bailey Dale, Elliot Yeo, Gimby, Wilmot, Constable, Liam Jones, and Sincotta. So Liam Jones probably comes on there. Our midfield is, we have the top 3 priced midfielders: Laird, Oliver, Lockie Neal, Tom Green, Jacob Hopper, Finn Callahan, Will Ashcroft, Cam McKenzie, Filippo, Phillips, and Baker on the bench. We've got Darcy and Marshall in the ruck with the loophole Madden on the bench. And then we go Dunkley, Rosie, Taranto, Flanders, Sheasel, McLean, and then Radigalia and Alwyn Davey on the bench. Radaglia mainly just giving us that quick backup ruck at the same time as making some price. And we've got 16,900 in the bank. Where are we weak?
That's a strong team. I like it.
That's a very nice team. I really like that.
I do too. Do we? All right. So here's the question then: Do we truly feel confident with Elliot Yeo as our D3, or can we save some money somewhere? And I'm just trying to have a look.
Can we let go Lockie Neal?
3 mid-primers.
Lockie Neal, put Steele,
though, because you've got,
and then add
but that only
Dacos in.
gives us. Nah, that's not enough. That's not enough.
I think it will be.
Lockie Neal's only 76k ahead of Elliot Yeo, and Elliot Yeo's 170 short of Dacos.
So if we put Neal to Steele, how much do we have? That's 100k, isn't it? Or 88k?
Yeah, it is. Sorry, doesn't make for great radio. But give me a second. I'm nearly there. It gives us 88,700.
It's good talking points.
So I feel our back line is the weakest. I mean, if you talk about the 3 spot, we've got, if we just talk about 3s and 4s, we've got Yo and Liam Jones. In the midfield, we're at like Tom Green and Jacob Hopper. And in the forward line, we're talking Tim Taranto and Sam Flanders. But I still don't mind it. I'm pretty happy to stay with that.
You know what we should do after this, lads?
In the midfield is interesting.
Let's throw it out to the community, and let's get the community to pick some players for a team, and we can create a Supercoach community team.
Yeah, it's a good shout. It's a good shout. All right. Well, we've clicked on the hour, so I feel like we could debate this for a while, and this is the fun of picking. But I sit pretty comfortably with that team.
Look, boys, I'm going to tell you, we're dropping a big podcast next week. We're dropping 3 big podcasts, and I'm very, very confident that if we do a vote by the end of it, I will get the least amount of upvotes that will say that I will win the comp, but I'm still going to win it, baby. Like the beam.
Do you know what the fun of this is with me building this team is currently this is my team because I've done it on my app.
I just think the 3 premiums is a bit much in the midfield. You're leaving your backline pretty exposed, and not getting Dacos in, I think, is a really, really big mistake.
One thing I realised, and this is why we did the rebuild, was it's very hard to just go, where do I make cash? And even what you did just there, so you went, look, I think we need to turn Yo into Dacos. And you do it, and then before you know it, you've actually got to downgrade somebody else to do it. You've nearly got to downgrade 2 players to bring in this Dacos. And then you've got to ask yourself, does Dacos actually end up scoring that much more than Yo if Yo's fit? Does he actually score that much more?
Can I just throw this to you as well? On the weekend, Collingwood jumped out to a 6-goal-1 lead, and then Dacos was tagged after that, and it brought Hawthorn back into the game, and Hawthorn nearly snatched the game. Now, we all know that Hawthorn aren't going to be a contender this year, but if teams cotton on to the fact that they need to stop Nick Dacos for them to have a chance at winning, and he gets tagged more often than not, I'm not about to spend $500K on a running defender that's going to have a heavy tag each week.
I'd rather get Ridley like junk time. What he does back there. Absolutely. Yep. All right. Look, I mean, to everyone listening at home, I feel like we could sit here and talk about this for hours on hours on hours, and that's what makes Supercoach fun, and we'll probably come back to it and have a chat. We've clicked over that hour mark. I'm very aware, not making these episodes too long, but hopefully we've asked and answered a lot of questions for people out there. I think we've talked about all the major names that have been spoken about all over Twitter. I think we've given you a bit of feedback for why I was never going to go 3 primos in the midfield, but I love that. I reckon it looks amazing. It actually makes me feel very sexy. But I'll throw to you guys. Any final thoughts on what people should be thinking about and what we're going to lead in to round 1? I'll start with you, Herbie.
Look, I think next week's pods are going to be great. The only concern that I have today is I know you like the 3 primos at 700k each. But just, I would say, how confident are you that all of them are just going to remain at that price? You also want to make money from some midfielders in that 6 or 550 bracket, take some risks. So that's the only thing I'll say. But next week, we will discuss, we'll all drop our teams, our final teams. And then, yeah, may the best person win.
Yeah, I like your thoughts, mate. Just to everyone listening at home, our Molten Fantasy Pod League, 237113. That number again, 237113. We're almost approaching 100 people in our league. We want to put that up near 200, 250 people by Thursday week. We've only got 11 days till round 1, so guys, jump in, get around it. As Justin said, we've got some big podcasts coming up. We're going to run through our teams, our locked and loaded teams. We've given you stats. We've given you some inside information. We've given you an idea as to how senior coaches think and know how players play on the field. We hope that with our knowledge, passing this on to you, that this is going to make you better for the year and hopefully within a shot of winning the big prize at the end of the year.
Yeah, spot on. Well said. Definitely join in, guys. Thank you, everybody, for listening along. I will post a photo of this story, of this team, I should say, that we've put together. We have some awesome podcasts coming up leading into round 1. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you follow us on all our social mediums that we are on. We are everywhere. We are talking daily to the point of we could be made redundant in our works. We're putting so much into this job. That's fine. We love it. We love that we listen along. We love that you give us your time and your ears. Drive safely, everybody, and we will see you on the next Molten Fantasy Sport podcast. Peace out.
See ya.